Hey everybody, welcome to the Dice Tower Q&A. Today is August 15th, 2016. My name is Tom Vasel. I'm the host of the Dice Tower, and we're just going to be answering some live Q&A. I used to use a link in the description for Q&A for people to up and down the different questions that were asked, but I found that I kind of enjoy it more when I just kind of go freeform from YouTube. So I'm going to be answering questions there, starting from, well, now. If you already asked questions, I apologize. If I don't answer your question and you see I've answered questions beyond it, then I'm not going to answer it if you keep asking it several times. I apologize about that, but I like to keep things going. And, you know, there's also an FAQ on our website where I answer a lot of questions. If you're going to ask me about a very specific game that I've already reviewed, then the review should suffice for that. But there are some upcoming things. Whatever. We'll figure it out as we go along. I'm just glad to be back. I was planning to do a live Q&A last Tuesday. Did not work out quite so well since we were still at the airport at that point in time. But I'm glad to be here now. Just got done reviewing a game that will be posted this week. Starting a new review series this week. And Board Game Blender is this week. So there's a lot of different things going on. But we're going to get here answering the different questions. So let's see if there's any. Were there any of the table makers that seem to be better quality than Geek Chic or at a price low enough to still be worth it for the quality? I think they're always worth the quality. Even the ones that aren't as good as Geek Chic, usually their price is lower than that. And I did not look. I think there was 2 or 3 other table makers. I did not look at them all in great detail when at Gen Con. But they seem like, from a quick glance, they seem to be pretty cool. I think that the one I'm using now, Wrath Scholars, is better than Geek Chic, but the prices are similar. And Geek and Sun is probably better than Geek Chic too, and their prices are a little bit lower. Of course, both of those are overseas, so you have to take that into account also. So let's go here. What game will you utilize your unicorn poop in? I have not decided yet. I'm sure there's a game. I mean, I want to say Carcassonne, but I'm sure there's another game where it will work better. When I find it, I'll just know it. Will Z be reviewing Legendary Encounters Firefly? No, actually, Sam is our biggest Firefly fan, so he'll be reviewing that, and I believe that's going up this week. Any details on the Lost Cities expansion? You mentioned it in Gen Con Back Talk. It's just a minor little thing. It's like a promo expansion. It's a 6th color. It's gray, which is very exciting to see a 6th color. I've not yet played this. I was hoping maybe to play it with my wife yesterday. Didn't happen. Maybe today. We'll see. I'm a little bit behind on reviews today. I'm doing okay, though, so we'll see. There's a possibility. My personal favorite game from Gen Con so far, that's kind of a hard one because are you talking about games I played before Gen Con? Because if it's before Gen Con, it's still Cry Havoc. That's my favorite game that's been released at Gen Con thus far, realizing I have not played all the games. Let's see here. Why is it that Ticket to Ride Marquin is out of print? I don't see many of the other games in the franchise being out of print as this one. It depends. There's various reasons. I don't think Marquin sold as well as the rest of them. I really love it. I love the passenger mechanism, but it was probably too complex for a lot of people. They did remake it, Ticket to Ride Germany, but that doesn't have the passenger mechanism in it, and it's mostly for sale in Germany. So that exists, but unfortunately, I think the other one just didn't do as well as the rest. They probably also had to pay Marquin a licensing fee for that, and so maybe that factored into the cost. I don't know. What did Melody think of Gen Con this time? I think I'll let her answer that. I'll probably have her on a Q&A in the future, and I'll let her talk about Gen Con herself, see what she thinks. Have you played many more games of Seafall since? Well, no. Each game of Seafall is a good 2.5 hours, I think. It might be longer than that. We are in the middle of our 2nd game at this point. Well, we're almost done. There's probably 20, 30 minutes left. I mean, we're really close to the end. It's actually, this table is closed right now because the Seafall game is underneath it. My opinion has gone up. Okay, we got to open a pack of stuff, and that definitely has improved how I think about it. But we will probably finish our 2nd game and play a 3rd game before we do another second impressions video, just to get the full effect of that. Does your channel get a bounce in subscription after a major con? I don't know. I hope so. I put a lot of money into the advertising in the Gen Con booklet. I don't know. I know a lot of people care about subscribers for a channel. That's usually the first thing you point to. You're like, look how many subscribers I have. That's cool and all, but subscribers don't mean anything. I'd rather if they don't watch videos. So I'm more interested in how many people watch the different videos. Certainly some videos we do. I mean, after Gen Con, there's always a huge bump, but that's always because we're doing a lot of the hot games from Gen Con. Now, I was delayed 3 days doing them this year, which was kind of a bummer. But, hey, it is what it is. What happened with your Delta flight? Well, just real quick, Delta had a major computer error on Monday morning. We were flying out Monday afternoon. We got there, they pushed our flight back, they pushed it back, they eventually canceled it, they put us on another flight, they pushed that one back. They eventually told us, hey, you can fly this flight if you want to, but then you will be in Atlanta and your next flight is likely going to be canceled. I said, yay, okay, we'll stay here overnight. So we did. We got up early the next day, then they pushed that flight back, and we finally got on that one. We got to to Atlanta, and then they pushed that one back, and by the time we got home, it was 5 o'clock, which was 24 hours after we had gotten to the airport. And then when we got there, none of our luggage was there. So about 30 hours later, we got 7 out of our 9 pieces of luggage, missing 2 of them, including the power cord for the camera you're looking at right now and the power cord for Sam's camera. And also all our tripods were in them, and most of the games that we had brought back were in them. So it was kind of a pain in the neck, but hey man, it is what it is. So, that being said, to answer most of your questions, have you played this Gen Con game yet? Maybe not, because we're behind by that far. The ones that we have been playing, we will be posting as soon as we can. Is Ticket to Ride sales, rails and sales still worth getting even though you didn't like it? That's kind of an unusual question. If I don't like it, I don't think it's worth getting. So, I mean, maybe after watching the review, you think, well, I don't care what Vasel says, I still like it. Great. That's the whole point of us doing a review, to give you the information about whether a game is worth getting or not. So if you still think it's worth getting, then go for it. But I can't. My opinion is, no, it's not worth getting. But feel free to disagree, of course. We did not go through True Dungeon this year. I went and looked at where it was, but we didn't go through it. It's just very expensive at this point. Do you think that the massive influx of bad board games will have a negative impact on the industry? No, I don't. What are you most excited about at Essen? You know what? I'm not going to even, I'm just saying now, I'm not going to answer any more questions like that. I haven't even looked at the Essen list. I'd like to know about things that are coming out in the future, but wow, we got so many great games that just came out at Gen Con. Let's concentrate on a few of them first, because they're very exciting and neat to be able to play and look at these games. Essen is still 2 months away, so that's coming, and I'm certainly working on like our booth and stuff, but as for the games, I'll look at those later. I am very surprised at the type of comments on your Blood Rage review. Why do you think that review game attracted such nasty comments? Was it the divided ratings or the Eric Lang backlash? I really don't know. The only thing I think of is that Z's speaking skills must have been so phenomenally good in that video. And I'm not being sarcastic there. He definitely must have out-talked both Sam and me, because it came across people like, you guys are Eric Lang fanboys. Okay, that really has nothing to do with it. I mean, it is an interesting thing. One of the reviews that we take the most flack for is Chaos in the Old World, where we did not give it a great review, which was an Eric Lang game. But despite that, Bloodborne has probably a darker theme than Chaos in the Old World, but the theme almost is not existed in the game. The game is just about playing cards to kill monsters and outthinking other players, and I really liked it. I've played that game almost 10 times already. I loved playing that game. It has nothing to do with who the designer is. I mean, granted, when I hear Eric Lang designed a game, I think that it's a great game, and I like Eric Lang as a person. But if he makes a bad game, and I have played a bad game of his, I I have no problem saying so. But so the negative review, I don't know, maybe people don't want to like the game. I urge you to try it. I think it's very fun. But Z did not like it. That's fine. But apparently his reasoning for not liking it has destroyed mine and Sam's. So props to Z for that one. Yeah, I was just very impressed by that. Would like to know what Z Sam thought of Scythe. Can you shed light on this at all? I don't think Z would like it, so I haven't even introduced him to it. Sam does enjoy it, has played it already. Did you try Star Wars Destiny, the 2-player dice game? Yes, I did get a chance to play that. I really enjoy it so far. One of the things I like about the Star Wars Destiny is this back and forth mechanisms that are in the game. So you have a couple characters, and there's like a point thing, so you build 2 or 3 characters maybe, right? And each character comes with a die, but you also have equipment on these characters, and those equipment will have dice. And then you have a deck of cards. Those cards can add more dice, or they can be like interrupt cards that you can play. And so I take an action, you take an action. One of my action can be rolling all the dice in a character. So maybe I have a character with 2 guns, so I roll 3 dice for them. And then the dice will do different things. Maybe the dice are an attack. Maybe the dice are a ranged attack. Maybe the dice give you more money. Money is kind of, or whatever the term is, I don't remember, to play cards. And so my action might be rolling dice. My next action, I'm going to use all my ranged ability. Now I'm going to use an action to discard a card to re-roll a die. And I'm going to now use this to play a card on somebody, which introduces a new die. Or I'm going to play this special action card. You just go back and forth until you've killed all the opponents. First person to do that wins the game. Very cool, very fast, and I really liked how quick and back and forth the game went. Dice Tower rewards are being sent out as we speak. I know that more than half of them are in the mail. Okay, the rest, all U.S. ones for sure, should be out by the end of this week. For those overseas, obviously it's going to take longer for you to get yours, and I apologize about that, but they're coming. They're coming. Watch for them. Was this Gen Con not as good as previous year, gaming-wise? I don't know. It's always impossible to tell that until much later in the year. I think last year was a good Gen Con gaming-wise, but Essen trumped it. Essen had so many more fantastic games than Gen Con did. While I think the year before that, Gen Con was obviously had better games. This year, I can't tell till they come out. I think there was a lot of great games at Gen Con, from Scythe to Portal's game, which I just, Cry Havoc, to Vast, to, I know the Harry Potter game was getting good reviews. There's a lot of cool games that were released at Gen Con this year. We'll have to wait and see how all of them are. Am I excited about the new Cosmic expansion? I am. It's kind of weird. I'm very excited about it. At the same time, I did not expect it. I wasn't even looking for it. I don't know how I'm going to fit in a box because my box is completely full. I know it sounds like a minor complaint, but I'm like, how am I going to fit everything in Cosmic box now? It's impossible. But I am excited about it. Looking forward to it. I've always said after each expansion, they don't need to do any more. And I mean that. But if they're going to do more, well, I'm going to play it, right? You know, why not? So, let's see. Are you going to review The Great Dinosaur Rush? I would keep an eye on the channel this week. Can I say when the next Every Game is Awesome is coming? There's 0 scheduled right now, and that is not for any negative reason. It's just because me and Jason haven't got together to play many games, and we really got slowed down by that whole Delta thing last week. We already knew we were going to be slightly behind after coming back from Gen Con, and yeah, so, well, it is what it is, like I said. Does Dragon and Flagon replace Cold Express? I don't know. That's interesting. I think it depends what theme you want. Cold Express is like a 2-dimensional thing going back and forth between the dragons, before the trains, and Flagon Dragon is more of a 3-dimensional thing. Maybe I like them equally? Do you foresee any Gen Con games making your 2016 list, or is it already done? It is not done. I will not put my list together until right before I do my top 100. So the chance of a Gen Con game making it is possible. There is definitely there's at least 2 games that have come out in 2016 that will be on my top 100 list for sure. And it's possible that more have, although I have not yet figured out my list that far. What is the name of the game that you said would replace Splendor? That would be Caravans. What kind of game would you like to see for a Stranger Things game? I don't know. It would have to be, I think, time stories maybe in aspect. I don't know. Something along that line. What introductory hobby game do you think would work for someone who's a big fan of Boggle? Maybe one of the deck building games like the Letterhead? No, it's not Letterhead. One of the word deck building games that has come out. There's one from Eagle Griffin, and there's one that was self-published. I would recommend either of those. I think are fun. Did you guys play any games at the airport terminal? Yeah, we played Ticket to Ride there. That was actually it. Because we constantly were going from one place to the other. We were sitting there and just playing with our phones and stuff like that. Did we get a chance to see Game of Thrones: The Iron Throne? I did. It's similar to Cosmic Encounter, but it's also very different. It streamlines parts of Cosmic Encounter. I do like a lot of the aspects of it. But, I mean, the Game of Thrones theme is not as cool to me as this funky, weird, wild Cosmic Encounter theme. But at the same time, it has a lot of differences into it. There's a little more negotiation, I think, involved in it. Have there been any games that have a distinctive enough smell that they still stand out in your memory? Oh, definitely. Let me see if I get the name right, because what was that game called? There was a game, it was from Eagle Griffin. It was the most powerful, funky smelling game that I had ever played. Wow, what was that called? I'm having a hard time remembering here. Let's see, was the word mob in it? Okay, well, we are going to find this. This is where I use my Google Kung Fu. We'll look at Eagle Games. Was it Mobs in New York, maybe? Find it. I think it was Mobs in New York or something like that. This is really going to bug me. It wasn't Bootleggers. It was about New York City. There's probably somebody who's already told me the name of it. Blood Feud in New York. That's what it was called. Blood Feud in New York. When you first opened that, I don't know what they did to the miniatures, but they were tremendously smelly. It was the smelliest box I've ever opened. And it wasn't a horrible smell, to me at least. I was like, ooh, smells like fresh paint. I like the smell of paint. But a lot of people really, really didn't like it. What is your storage solution for Marvel Legendary? That's where I'm at right now. I really don't know. Jason stores his in each set in one of those boxes, but I want to have all my Wolverine cards together. So I haven't figured out how to do that yet. And I could put everything in alphabetical order, but if I do that every time I get a new set. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of just putting it all in boxes, not really sorting it out that well. And when it ends, because it probably will end at some point, right? Who knows? When it ends, then I'll sort it all out. Do you think a children's version of Ticket to Ride was really necessary? No, I don't think it was necessary. But you know what? I don't think any board games are necessary. But I know what you're asking. And you're asking the same question that a lot of people have asked. Well, basically like, well, isn't Ticket to Ride good for kids already? And to that, I really don't understand that concept, right? So your kids, you've taught them regular Ticket to Ride. That's amazing. And I'm glad that your kids are very smart and handle that. But a lot of kids would have trouble with Ticket to Ride. So why would we begrudge that a Ticket to Ride game specifically aimed at kids came out? And it's really good. My kids played it. My kids are obviously dumber than your kids. But my kids played it and they loved it. And it was right on their level. All they had, and it taught them how to connect cities and collect sets. It was really good for them. And for that, in the concept that no board games are necessary, sure, I think it's necessary. I love when kids' games versions of games come out. And Ticket to Ride, like I've said before, if you think Ticket to Ride's a kid's game, I can play a kid and kind of destroy them in Ticket to Ride because there's a lot of strategy in the game. So I don't know that it's necessarily a kid's game. And yes, I'm sure your kids could beat me too, but I'm not a very good player maybe then in that regard. So I don't understand this backlash. Why do we need a Ticket to Ride kids game? Why not? Seems super fun. Are we recording Skyfall? We are not. Seafall, I'm sure is what you meant, not Skyfall. We're not recording Seafall, and I'll tell you why. It'd be really boring to watch. It really would. I know you think it wouldn't, but it really, really would. It is a heavy Euro game, so a lot of the game you would see us sitting there going, I'm talking about 75% of the game. Okay, so I'm not reporting it for that reason because I only put things on the channel that I find interesting and I don't find it interesting. And I know people are like, I want to see a game played. I understand that, but it just would not be interesting. Maybe it would get interesting later on. We'll see. But for now, we're not doing that. My apologies. Did the foot traffic at your booth match the increase in subscribers, viewers, listeners from just 1 year ago? I think so. I would say the foot traffic at our show, we had 1,000 people come to our show, which was really cool. And if you were there, thank you very much. And if you came by the booth, thank you. That's pretty cool. Did Days of Wonder have a copy of the new Coliseum at Gen Con? They did not, and I know this because Tasty Minstrel's doing the new version. I don't know if Tasty Minstrel had a new copy or not. Do you find shuffling to be relaxing? Probably because I know that I've started shuffling things before, and then I've done it for like 10 minutes straight while talking to people. What game that had almost no hype before Gen Con surprised you the most once you found out about it? Vast, for sure. What is the history behind a running joke about hating Stephen Bonacore? I don't know. It just kind of evolved. It's a lot of fun for both of us. We're very good friends. It's just a funny thing to do. What are your thoughts on the bit boxes? Says Jeremiah Dixon twice. Shouldn't answer a question asked twice, but I will. If you go watch, not today's Board Game Breakfast, but 2 Board Game Breakfasts ago, I put them in, and I did a full little review of them in Dice Dice Baby. A game that fails on Kickstarter may be bad, says Darth Grader, Vasel's Law, but it may fail due to other factors too. What advice do you have for designers of failed Kickstarters? Figure out why it failed. It may be because you're not very good at promoting the game. That's a possibility. You might have a great game on Kickstarter, it just wasn't promoted well. Maybe the art looks really bad. Maybe you haven't shown off enough stuff. I'm not an expert on why board game Kickstarters fail, though. There are many other people who are probably better than me. I can only tell you if the final product is fun or not, of course, in my opinion. Why Kickstarters fail sometimes, I think, well, they just didn't do a good job at promoting them. That's what I think. Of course, it could be that the game's not very good. With con season in effect, how's your weight management going? I've been off pop for 34 days and started walking almost every day thanks to Pokemon Go, says Michael. Well, my weight certainly went up during convention season, but it is already down considerably even from Gen Con because I'm no nonsense about that. I'm still hoping to reach my goal, which was 40 pounds by the time I'm 40. I have less than a month to go before I turn 40, but I think I make it. It might be to the wire, but we'll see. What are some things you miss most about... Oh, am I going to have a Dice Tower booth at Essen? Yes. Who's going? Me, Eric, Sam, Z. Jason, probably. What are some things you miss about being from Pennsylvania? I miss all the historical stuff that's there. I like Gettysburg. I love Gettysburg. Philadelphia. There's a lot of cool historical things that are in Pennsylvania. A lot of cool things to do. Like every town in Pennsylvania has something interesting. And I miss the food a lot. Fried pierogies, steak sandwiches. Pennsylvania has the best. They have the best potato chips. You know, most people, when you go to the store, you have Lay's potato chips and maybe a few other brands. And in Pennsylvania, There's like 10 or 12 potato chip companies, and every single one of those is about 6 or 7 times better than Lay's. I mean, really. Yeah, I always wondered who buys Lay's potato chips in Pennsylvania, because all the other chips are better. Maybe it's the price. I don't know, but definitely from Goods to Hers to Utz to Charles to King's. There's so many great potato chip companies. It seems like a weird thing to miss, but it's something. Tasty Cakes I used to miss, but now Tasty Cakes are all over the Eastern Coast, which is great because Tasty Cakes are amazing. I don't know. There's other things I miss, but not so much that I want to go back there to live. Any different cons planned for next year? I've not actually planned any conventions for next year yet. I know I'll be at Origins. I know I'll be at Gen Con. I know I'll be at Dice Tower Con. I know I'll be at Essen. I know I'll be at Gamma Trade Show. I know those for 2018, but I've made zero planning for any of them. Expectations for the Oregon Trail game. I expect it to be quite bad, frankly, but who knows? Let's see. Yes, better to be delayed getting home from Gen Con than getting to Gen Con. I agree. Had this whole thing happened on the way to Gen Con, I think I would have been pulling my hair. Been like, ah, and I think it would have been just me. A lot of people flying to Gen Con. That would have really changed how Gen Con was, I think. There have been a lot of late people there, and there have been a lot of booths maybe that weren't set up in time. Just want to ask you 3 adjectives to describe Oceanos from Antoine Baza. Haven't played enough, really. That's not my 3 words. I just haven't played it enough to give any kind of main feedback on that. Jason didn't do a vlog at Gen Con, so there's no vlog from him coming. I'm really anxious to know your feeling on the others. I will be recording that probably next week, I'm hoping. Let's see here. What were your favorite moments of the Dice Tower Live event at Gen Con? I really enjoyed it from start to finish. The game show was fun. I wasn't involved in that, so well, I was kind of just there watching. Jamie did an excellent job on that one. I thought the songs went okay. It was fun from beginning to end. You know what my favorite moment was? At the very beginning, just watching everybody come in. It was so amazing. I tried to go back, and I tried to shake everyone's hand, but I couldn't because I wasn't able to get back to the front in time. But it was just neat to see all those people coming in, and families, and oh, it was just great. Super fun. That was my favorite point. If you were asked to help design an expansion to Cry Havoc, what is something you would add? You know, I probably wouldn't. I usually don't think about expansions for games and what I would add. I like Cry Havoc a lot, and I don't sit there and going, what could they add? I'm pretty content. Now, when they add something, I'll be like, ooh, wow, I never thought about it. That's cool. Sometimes I think, well, this would be neat. Like, for example, you play a game like Smash Up, and I'm instantly thinking, ooh, more factions would be fun. But for the most part, I'm content with games as they are, and if expansions come out, I go, woohoo! What do you think will happen when Asmodee owns everything? Do you mean like they'll own this table and they'll own my computer, they'll own Apple? Maybe you mean when they own Whole Foods? That'd be interesting if Asmodee owned Whole Foods. They could sell board games at Whole Foods. That'd be cool. It'd be super expensive though. Maybe they're a good fit. Which of the 2 line games are you looking forward to more? Rising Sun or Godfather? Well, I played Godfather and it's an excellent game. So maybe that one, but Rising Sun is Samurai, which is a super great theme. Will you be doing another cruise in December 2017? Yes. I do not know the exact dates, but I'm hoping to make them the same dates as this year. We should know that soon. What are the legal issues surrounding retheming and reworking of existing games? For instance, many people would like to see a reprint of Pillars of the Earth. Could that just be reworked and rethemed? It could be, but Cosmos owns that game as far as I know. So until that game is, you know, you can't patent game mechanisms, really. You can just redo those in other games. So it could be done. I don't know who owns the rights to that particular game. Do you, Sam, and Z still hang out outside of work? We do, but we work together so much, especially during convention season, that usually when we're off on our own, we will just do whatever, you know, with our families and such. We get together occasionally, maybe watch a movie or something, but that's about it. It's kind of hard to tell your game ratings based on thumbs up on Miami Dice reviews. Will you switch to ratings? Well, we won't, but if you watch Week in Review, which we post every week on Monday, one went up today, you can see our rating numbers for all the different games. And you can always go to Board Game Geek and see my rating there. And if you ever find a game that I've reviewed but haven't rated on Board Game Geek, email me and I'll fix that immediately. Will we be doing any live feeds from Essen? We will not. Sorry. What retro games other than Fireball Island do you hope they revamp? I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm just like Fireball Island. This game is Bonkers is one I'd like to see. There were several others on the restoration games. Well, I guess I can go there right now. Okay, so restorationgames.com. And let's see which of these games we'd like to see. Ask some boring questions about my kids, blah, blah, blah. All right, here we go. Mystery Mansion, never played, so don't know. Which? I don't know. Pathfinder is cool. That one looks good. Barbarian Prince, I don't know. Thunder Road, yes, definitely. Be great to see a new Thunder Road game. Image, I don't know. I don't think I've played that one. Pay Dirt, that'd be cool, but I don't think a football game would do well. This game is Bonkers, yes. Kingmaker, yes. Fireball Island, yes. Stop Thief, yes. Dragon Master, I don't think I've played that one. Cover looks cool. Lost Treasure, same. Conspiracy, yes. Gambler, sure. Stellar Conquest, yes. Are there more than that? No. Okay, so those are the ones that they have mentioned. They all sound pretty cool. Who does all your taxes accounting for the Dice Tower? Me and H&R Block. When's the last time you played Monopoly? It's probably been almost 10 years now. Will any extra Dice Tower rewards items be sold on the website? Yes, but not until we know every single one is out there, at least on the way to backers. I don't want to have them available there and so that people, let's just wait till they get out there. We had them at Gen Con as they were being sent out, and I'm not even really totally content with that, but we needed to cover our costs for Gen Con. But they won't show up on the website until at least the majority of backers have them in their hands. Any hints on your thoughts on Mansions of Madness 2nd edition? Well, one of these games is going. That's all I can say. So there's that. Do you know if Eldritch Horror will be coming out with more expansions, or is the game dead? Oh man, I don't know that the game could possibly be... the number of expansions that exist for Eldritch Horror, for how long it's been out, seem to be excessively high. I'm not caught up on them myself. I just... maybe... if it's done, then isn't that great? Game isn't dead just because expansions stopped coming out. Eldritch Horror was fine out of the box. Each expansion is cool, but dead. Some games do not need a constant flood of expansions, and I think Elder Char is one of them. I know they're coming out, but... Did I try to get Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle? I didn't even try to get it. I know they didn't have very many of them, so I just figured I'd wait until it came out and do it there. I did not realize it was going to be as super popular as it was. Will I be reviewing Tavarua? I will actually be reviewing Tavarua this week, so keep an eye out for that. What do you think caused Gen Con to not grow this year? Well, I think it did grow. Gen Con and Origins had the same numerical thing happen to both of them. They both slightly went down overall numbers, but their turnstiles went up on both of them a lot. And that means more people are coming for the whole thing. And so I think that there's only so much room. Origins, I think Origins saw growth, because what happened with Origins is the Starlight City Magic Tournament, they pulled it out. That's 3,000 people who show up for a day. Almost all those people were covered by board gaming. So Origins grew significantly. The numbers just don't show it. Numbers don't always show everything. Gen Con did not grow as much because I think Gen Con has hit max capacity in regards to the hotels that are in Indianapolis. And it comes a point where you're like, stay an hour away, not worth it. So I think that's why you're going to see Gen Con kind of level out. When is the next top 10 coming? Probably next week. Has Eric Lang ever talked to you about your dislike of Chaos in the Old World? You know, most designers know, obviously, that I don't like their game, a specific game or whatever. And I actually do like Chaos in the Old World. I thought it was dark, but I don't dislike it. There is a game of Eric Lang's I don't like, which is Senator. I really hated Senator. But when I meet a designer and I haven't liked one of their games, I know it. They know it. I know that they know it. But we can talk around it, right? Sometimes they address it directly, but never in a point of, hey, I really think you like this game if you tried this. Now that actually, I should rephrase that. Any major designer I've never had that problem with. I've had a few small designers who said, oh, come on, I'm going to play this game with you right now to show you that you're wrong. Yeah, I usually try to avoid that. But for the most part, any professional designer, I think is the best word to use for it. We'll talk about why I didn't like the game or something, but they've never really got on my case about it. Cool Duel of Ages 2 video last week. Any reason that popped up now? No, I played the week before Gen Con. I played with Melody. I was like, Melody, any game you want to play, what do you want to play? She said, Duel of Ages. So we pulled it out and we played it. And I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to do a top 10 of my characters. So while we were playing it, I went through and pulled out all the characters that would make my top 10. And then I just set them aside. And after Gen Con, I was like, okay, I got no games, but I can do this. So I did it. Which is better, but wait, there's more, or Snake Oil? I like but wait, there's more better. Did you play the new Civil War expansion for Legendary? I haven't actually sorted it out yet. Did FFG lose or drop the Games Workshop license? Word on the street is that they have, with no new Games Workshop IP-based games and the Rune Wars Minis game announcement. I don't know. I kind of asked, not directly, but pretty closely that direction, and they did not answer me. Seems like it, right? We haven't seen anything new from Games Workshop from them. Games Workshop has its own games coming out, and this new Rune Wars miniatures game sure looks like a Warhammer Fantasy. Hey, Warhammer Fantasy is gone. We got exactly a similar game. I mean, it certainly looks different and all, but yeah, I think there's a lot of, who knows? I don't know if there's an amicable breakup or bad or if who initiated it. That's all rumor mongering anyway. The fact is, it does look like they are going to be going two separate paths, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Is there a do not open ever pack in Seafall? There is not. If there was, I would open it. Did you pick up that hat in Indy? Did you pick up any good art? Yeah, I did pick up some good art. Me and Melody went through and picked it up together. I think we got 5 new pieces. I actually can't show you now. Maybe I'll Periscope it at some point. But because I can't carry all this equipment down up and down the hall. But that was cool. And this hat, no, I got this hat. Where did I get this hat? I want to say I got this hat. Oh, I know, I got this hat online. There was like a special deal. Get 5 fedoras for a cheap price. And I was like, yeah. And 3 of the 5 fedoras weren't very good. This one's okay. It's a little smaller for my head than I prefer, but I like the way it looks. Do you keep your games note cards for your top 100 year over year, or do you reprint, rewrite them manually? I always rewrite them because I want to go into it with fresh eyes. Like, I'm going to start by writing the names of all these games behind me because these are my favorite games, right, that I have in my collection. There's a couple games I really like that are in other people's collections, but most of what I like is right behind me, probably. There's very few games in my top 100 that I don't own. And there's a couple games that are going to drop considerably far down my top 100 as time goes by. Paperback is the name of that game mentioned before. Whew, I'm really far behind. That is a good word game. What are your opinions on solo gaming and the way some gamers frown upon solo gaming? I don't play solitaire games myself, with a minor exception that may have shown up recently. And I don't like doing it, right? I don't like playing solitaire games. For me, I want to play games with other people. And if I'm going to play a solitaire game, I'll play a computer game because that's more fun for me. But just because I don't like doing it and I won't review them, doesn't mean I look down on people who do. If you want to play solitaire board games, that's fantastic. And honestly, I haven't felt that much anti-solitaire board games. I've seen people go, I don't want to play games by myself, I want to play with other people. But that doesn't mean they're looking down on people who do play solitaire games. So just keep that in mind. Tom, you say you have to ship the Kickstarter rewards in 2 waves. Can you explain why? Yeah, because different shipping is done for international. Cool Stuff helps me with my shipping. They're the ones who do the logistics and all that regard. And there's a completely different process done for international shipments as opposed to local shipments. There's customs you got to deal with. There's just a lot more that goes into it. That's why. Did designing Nothing Personal change the way you reviewed games afterwards, perhaps having more appreciation for the design process? Possibly. I mean, certainly, sure, I now have an insight on what it's like to design. I don't know if it changed how I review games, because I'm still reviewing games from an end-user aspect. Is a game hard to design? I get it. It's hard to design. But that doesn't mean I'm going to say your bad game is, well, I know it was hard for you to design. No. It's just kind of like music. I'm not a great musician. I can play the piano. I can sing a little. I know how to read music. I can play a tiny bit of the trumpet. I can do that, but I'm not a great musician by any means. But I still know music I like and music I don't like when I hear it. And just because I know that learning to play the piano takes years and years of practice doesn't mean I'm going to have sympathy for someone who plays bad piano. One of the key ideas of film criticism is that they interpret a work to create new meaning and content. Do you feel the same for reviewing board games? I really don't. I think a lot of times when I read video, I love reviews, right? I love reading reviews of movies and TV shows. I especially like reading them after I've seen it because I like to see what that person said. But once they start talking this higher stuff, I'm kind of out. When I read a movie review, I want to know, is this a fun movie to watch? Or is it a good movie to watch? Like, does it make you think? Because there's different kinds of movies. When I'm looking for a game, I want to know, is the game fun? I don't care if the game changes the hobby. I don't care if the game presents new material in a new, unique way. Historical stuff, I mean, that stuff's all cool, maybe in addition. But there's one thing I want to know. Is the game fun? And that's what I do in my reviews. Is the game fun? Everything else beyond that, like, oh, this is a work of art, that's well and good. Some reviewers can do that. But when I do a review, I want to do the review the way I want to watch it. So I want to watch, is the game fun? That's basically it. For every game I've ever done, that's kind of where I'm at from it. Let's see here. I have not played Arkwright yet, sorry. Did you play any of the video pinball games in the Gen Con tunnel? I didn't see any pinball games there. Maybe I missed them. I saw the video games and I said, ooh, let's play those, and then I didn't get around to doing it. So, none of them like really grabbed me. I saw Gauntlet Legends and I was like, but other people were playing it, so I didn't feel like standing around and waiting. Why did Asmodee make people wait in line just to look around? Because that's the best way they can handle it. If they just said, come in and look around, it would be a madhouse. So the line's the best way to do it. No matter how these bigger booths at conventions are going to let people buy things, people are going to complain no matter what. At least the Fantasy Flight one is very, very organized. You come in, you can look around, you pick what you want, you go. As soon as someone comes out, they let another person in. It's the same as most of these places. Like if you went to Gen Con and went to the auction store, it's the same thing. That someone came out, they let you go in and you could look around all you want, and there's a line waiting to get in. It's the most organized way of doing it. You may not like to stand in line. I completely understand that. But the good news is you can get these games online very soon. What was it like being opposite the Pokemon stall? That was interesting. There was a lot of people there, but it was mostly selling Pokemon. They sold some Pokemon game, but they sold a lot of Pokemon plush stuff, and people were really interested in buying that. It also made it really easy to tell everyone, hey, you're looking for us? Where's your booth? Oh, it's by Pokemon's butt. That was or Pikachu's butt, I'm sorry. That's the easiest way to find us, the giant Pikachu. I was actually glad that I did not have a sign hanging from the ceiling because it would have been totally obscured by Pikachu. Dice Tower Con has had a full convention schedule this year. Will you guys do more or less next year? We will likely do the same amount. I don't plan to do more. And I think what we're doing now is fine. With the amount of travel to different conventions, would the Dice Tower headquarters be better located somewhere else than Florida? I don't think that really matters much. We would have to travel far to go overseas anyway. And I really like living in South Florida. And I got a lot of ties here now, so I don't want to leave. We got an airport close by. We're fine. I must be really slow on the answers for these, since some people, I'm coming down and people are asking questions that I've already answered. Once again, if you ask a question multiple times, the chance of it getting answered does not increase at all. In fact, goes down. What's the coolest single die you've ever used in a game? Well, there was that electronic die that worked with my iPad. That was pretty cool. I got a die that lights up. When did I get that? That wasn't at Gen Con. I think I got that at Origins. I may have picked up a few more dice at Gen Con. It's possible. Who is editing all your videos? Well, no, it's a different person. Derek Porter, my new guy, edits almost all my videos. Z usually does the top 10s. And Z and Sam edit their own reviews, and Z usually does top 10s, and Sam usually does Miami Dice, and then Derek edits everything else, which is a lot. What story from the Old Testament would you like to see as a board game? Well, that's a good question. What story would I like to see? Let me see. Wow. Man, that's a good one. David versus Goliath, done well, maybe? It seems too obvious. I don't know. Good question, though. I'm going to have to think about that one. Why doesn't Toys R Us include more modern games? Some of them actually sell a lot. Do you think they'll change their policies one day? I don't know if you've been in Toys R Us lately, but they sell a lot of modern games. Last time I was there, I saw King of Tokyo. I saw some Passport games there. I saw Catan. Toys R Us is selling a lot of modern games. Also, if you meant, there's a lot of mass market games there. They're pretty modern. You may not like them, but they're there. And these modern games that I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say designer games. Most of them do not sell as many as the Toys R Us needs to sell games. That's for sure. If you could pick one setting for Time Stories, what would it be? I think I would like, let's see, a good Time Stories setting. You know, oh, I know it is. It'd be a futuristic one. A one that takes place in like the year 2200, something like that. Aha, do I play Pokemon Go? Well, I did not. Until I was at a meal at Gen Con, and everyone around the table was playing Pokemon Go, and I said, and there was like a bunch of, we were by some Pokestops, and I said, fine, I got it on my phone for my daughter, I will catch some for her, and I've been playing it since. Now my neighborhood is horrific for Pokemon. There's no Pokestops around here or anything. We'd have to go pretty far for that, but I may have gone to the zoo the other day with Melody just because I heard there was a lot of Pokestops there. It's possible. Top 3 silly songs with Larry. Where is my hairbrush? We Are the Pirates Who Don't Do Anything. And Barbara Manatee. Although Cheeseburger is pretty good. But that's not a silly song. That's right. That's a serious song. Do you ever get con crud? I do. Shaking hands is a lot of exposure. However, a doctor came up to me at Gen Con, and he said, do you wash your hands? I said, yes. He said, do you use hand sanitizer? Yes. He said, then you're fine. He said, this whole fist bump for shaking hands, he said, if doctors really thought fist bumping was really mattered, then they would do it to their patients. He said, when you meet a doctor, do they shake your hand? I said, they do. He said, yes, they do. So you can shake people's hands. We used a lot of sanitizer at Gen Con. We did, just to make sure, and I washed my hands there and did my best not to touch my mouth when I'm at Gen Con. So I did not get sick. I also took vitamins when I was there and such. But, you know, still could probably get sick now. I'm sick today, actually, but I don't think it's from Gen Con because it's been a week. I think it's from my kids. Why is Tom Vasel so mean to Stephen Bonacor? He should openly profess his love for this great man now. Well, part of it is because Stephen Bonacor is a... Oh, wait, I'm live. Yeah, I can't say what I was about to say there. Also, it's a family-friendly channel. Yeah, and I can't really take that back and say I didn't say it later. Man, so many things. Well, you know what I'm thinking. Anyhow, let's see. Has your opinion of a game ever changed so dramatically over time you deeply regretted your initial review? No, I don't. Because my initial review is my initial review, right? It's what I thought about it then. I've changed my opinions on games, not usually dramatically, but sometimes I have. Sometimes they go down, sometimes they go up. I don't regret the original one because that's what I thought when I played it. Let's see here. A lot of people are asking questions. That I've already answered. Let's see here. You've expressed a love of Pathfinder and other RPGs. Have you ever considered joining a group on sites like Roll20? I love to run a game for you, Z Sam. I actually don't know what that means. I apologize. Is Roll20 a way to play online? How does that work? Is like the DM someone on a video screen and we all sit around the table and watch? That might be interesting. I sure want to record that if we ever did that. We actually have been thinking about running a Dice Tower play an RPG live on our channel. We have a good RPG game master in our group, but I don't know. We'll see about that. Will any of us be reviewing the upcoming reprint of Escape from Colditz? I plan to. I'm excited about that. Are any more useless top 5s coming? Actually, I have a useless top 10 that I've had recorded now for 2 months. And I haven't stuck it in Board Game Breakfast because Board Game Breakfast has been quite full. When I get a show where I think there's less segments than normal, that's when you'll see it stick in again. Any good food stories from Gen Con? The food there was fantastic as normal, but I don't think there was any kind of food story from there. Would you consider filming your thought process when sorting the top 100, recording sorting out your cue cards and your thought process of why you pick one over the other? Maybe I'll do that, but I don't know. There's things like when I sort out my games, I'm kind of like doing it on a couch somewhere, or I don't know, or I'm doing it while I watch a movie or something. I don't know that I want to have some time away from the camera. Let's see. How do you make sure that you don't lose the love and fun element of games when it's your full-time job? I don't know. I don't know that the losing of that exists because I like it that much. So having it as my full-time job is an excellent thing. I suppose it could. There are times where maybe it's not as fun and you got to do something, but I really like playing games. So I don't know. I think that if you lose the love, then maybe that love wasn't that strong in the first place. Oh, it's time to ban somebody. All right. Well. I think at this point, well, I'm going to go a few minutes over because I started a few minutes late, and I apologize about that. So let's do a few more questions here. Do you watch, let's see, with one of your top 100 lists one year, you did your favorite ties. Did I do that? I don't remember doing that, but it does sound like something I do. Would I do my favorite hats? Possibly. I think for my top 100, I went down my top 20 ties, and I did each 5. I could do that with hats. That's an interesting thing. I'll try to remember to do that. I hope I don't forget. Let's see here. Do you like the news or reviews aspect of Dice Tower more? Oh, the reviews, for sure. I love reviews. Did you think the hall was too big this year? You mentioned after Thursday your booth traffic was good but not crazy. Well, okay, well, no, I think the hall was not too big. After Thursday, it wasn't as crazy as Thursday, but it was still busy. We were never bored at the booth. The only time that no one was at the booth when I was there was like the very end on Sunday. I don't think the hall was too big. I think the hall was great. They could even add more room for all I care. Do you know if vendors see much theft at Gen Con? It's possible. I'm sure it happens. But there's not a whole lot you can do about it, right? I mean, if people are going to steal, they're going to steal from you. It's unfortunate. I guess I could keep track of our inventory better, and maybe we could figure out if we have theft or not. But who knows? I have never asked vendors about that. That's a good question. Maybe I could ask someone, because if they keep track of how many games they have, how many games they sell, they could probably tell me how much theft there is. I'm sure it happens, and it's very unfortunate. Does Dice have a policy about disclosing its involvement with games you've helped develop or publish? You're usually very good about mentioning it, but a few have slipped through. I don't actually know that. The only game I helped publish are the ones from Dice Tower Essentials, and I always mention that. Develop? What games have I helped develop? I mean, there's games that I've had ideas with, and like, for example, Thunderstone Epic. I came up with that, or I didn't come up with it. Richard Launius came up with the idea, and I just expanded on it some more. But I don't think I've helped develop any games. Sometimes I've seen them early, and I'll mention some ideas that get used in them, but that's not developing. And it definitely doesn't have any change in my opinion on the game. Were you impressed with Jason's Han Solo joke? I was. Let's see there. I'm going to ban Bonacore soon, so because he is bogging down my chat here. Tom, were you able to visit the Dragon and Flagon room and preview at Gen Con? Yeah. I went there. It was a lot of fun. They had it set up kind of like a big tavern with like shot glasses, and everybody was playing different games. I think like 100 people were playing it. It looked like a lot of fun. Because my dinner went late, I got there at the tail end of it, but people seemed to be having a good time doing it. Let's see here. Could I flip the Royals box over for your OCD? I'm trying to look where Royals is. Oh, Royals is upside down? I'm very, very sorry about that. Hopefully that's better. Let's see here. I don't think I have a top 100 ones, hats. I don't have 100 hats. I don't have even 50 hats, I guess. But I had a credit for Mage Wars Academy. I didn't do anything in Mage Wars Academy other than saying to Brian Pope, hey, you should make a version of Mage Wars that's simple and easy for people to get into, that's a stepping stone to get into Mage Wars. And Brian said, amazing idea, I'm giving you credit. It's like, you don't need to give me credit. That was the extent of what I did for Mage Wars Academy. Oh, there's 180 people playing Dragon Flagon, says Steven, who is not happy with me saying 100 people. My apologies. Let's see here. It says, I just lost the right to complain about other trolls. I'm very sorry. Am I trolling people? I was just trying to help people out here. Let's see here. Well, it looks like that's all the questions. Someone asked me what my favorite movie of all time, but we've done a top 10 list on that one. So let's talk a little bit about what's coming up here. You're going to see reviews show up tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday from all of us at the Dice Tower. You'll see the best games of 2006. I know. But I have to follow my 40 years of great games in 2007. You will see Board Game Blender coming out this week, and there's a possibility of other stuff. Like I said, I'm starting a new video review series. Not a big deal. It's a big deal for me, but I don't think that will be that spectacular of a thing. So that's basically it, guys. I appreciate everyone watching the Q&A. Thank you for all the questions. At some point, you know, on Saturday, I sat down and rearranged all my bitch drawers, so maybe I'll have to show them off sometime in the future. I think that would be fun, because I got rid of a lot of the pieces from them, mostly dice that I'm never going to use. And I added more drawers, and I have a lot of empty drawers over there now, which means I need more bits, more stuff. Well, maybe not. Hey, guys, thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. Live Q&A. Do 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 do.